He was arrested for a crime he didn't commit. But the real betrayal is just beginning. Will she fight for him or join the ones who want to destroy him? Hey guys, welcome to today's amazing and compelling movie featuring your favorite actors and actresses. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this one because there's a lot to gain from it. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe for more captivating movies from us. The story begins in a mechanical workshop where a young man named Dami was called by his boss to fix a car outside the workshop. Just as he was about to leave, he saw a wallet that belonged to a customer. He picked it up and left with it. Later that day, a customer began harassing a lady mechanic named Chica, accusing her of stealing his wallet. Even the boss tried to convince the customer otherwise, but he refused to listen. When Dami returned and saw the commotion, he brought out the wallet he had found on the floor. The customer refused to apologize to Chica. Instead, he tried to cause more trouble. So the boss gave him back the wallet and encouraged his staff to ignore the drama and return to work. Some hours later, a lady named Amber had a car issue and asked a boy to tow her car to the workshop. When she arrived, she told them to check the car. Dami assured her that the workshop was reliable and introduced himself before she left. Amber got to her office only to find out that the presentation she had worked so hard on was presented by a young man named Abbas. She tried to speak with her father, who owns the company, but he left them to sort things out. After their talk went nowhere, she left. Her father later encouraged Abbas to speak to his daughter, saying he didn't like the tension between them. Abbas promised to talk to her later. But here's the twist. What secret is Abbas hiding that could destroy everything Amber believes in? Later, in Amber's office, Abbas came in and said all kinds of annoying things to her. She eventually raised her voice and asked him to leave. Just then, her secretary came in to deliver a file, but she refused to collect it. Back at the mechanic workshop, Chica tried to persuade Dami to leave work early, but he insisted on waiting for a customer. She eventually left. Moments later, Amber returned to collect her car. Dami noticed she looked down and frustrated, so he offered to lend a listening ear, and she opened up to him. She explained that her father trusted Abbas more than her, like a son, because Abbas's father had died taking a bullet for her dad. That's why her father insists she must marry Abbas. Dami advised her to speak to her father directly and assured her that he would listen. When Chica returned, Amber paid Dami more than enough for the service and left. Dami told Chica that rich people also go through difficult problems, but Chica dismissed him, saying he was too naive and people could easily lie to him. They both laughed and enjoyed their moment together. Later that night, while Dami was studying for WAS, Chica, who didn't believe much in schooling, told him she planned to travel abroad. Dami told her he wanted to focus on school, but she brushed it off and insisted they play cards together, which they did. That same night, Amber met her father in the living room and told him firmly that she didn't want to marry Abbas. She said although Abbas was like a son to him, she was willing to let go of the company if that would keep Abbas out of her life. Her father promised to think about it. She went to bed, leaving her father in deep thought. The next day at the workshop, Amber visited Dami again. He thought there was a problem with her car, but she said she just wanted to thank him for the advice he gave her. She also insisted on eating around the workshop. While Dami stepped away, Chica confronted Amber and asked why she kept coming around Dami, despite being rich and having nothing in common with him. She told Amber that Dami was her business. When Dami returned, Chica excused them. Amber and Dami spent some time together again. Later at the office, Amber's father told Abbas about his daughter's complaints. Abbas asked for 6 months to make her fall in love with him. He also begged him not to inform her of his plan. The father agreed. Soon after, Abbas visited Amber's office and lied, telling her that her father had begged him to marry her. She was shocked and asked what he truly wanted since he was already earning well. Abbas then threatened to ruin her relationship with her father, but Amber stood her ground and refused to marry him. He left angrily. At the workshop, Amber waited for Dami so they could talk. Chica noticed this and asked Dami if he had any appointments with her. Then, Chica went to confront Amber again, this time harshly, accusing her of pretending there was something wrong with her car just to see Dami. She told Amber to stay away from Dami, saying she was rich and should leave him alone. But Amber refused to leave. Chica ran to inform Dami about how stubborn Amber was being. Moments later, Amber and Dami had another heart-to-heart. She told him everything her father said and her plan to walk away from the company. Dami advised her to stay and prove herself, and only then resign with dignity. Meanwhile, Chica, who had been eavesdropping, was scolded by their boss and told to get back to work. She left Dami with Amber. Before Amber left, she collected Dami's number in case she had another car issue or just needed someone to talk to, as time moved on. Later that night, Chica was unhappy about Amber's growing interest in Dami. She believed Amber might take advantage of him because of her wealth, but Dami tried to make her understand that Amber wasn't like that, then left to answer a phone call. Guy, the way Chica is so concerned about Dami, is she secretly in love with him? And do you think Amber could ever hurt Dami? Well, let's find out together. The next day, Amber returned home to see Abbas dining with her father. Both men questioned where she was coming from. She replied that she went to see a friend, but they assumed she was seeing another man. Abbas tried to make peace with her, but Amber walked out on them. In her room, Amber struggled to find a way to stay away from Abbas. It was starting to feel impossible. When her father came in to talk to her, she tried to explain that she didn't want Abbas in the house and believed he had ulterior motives. But her father shut her down, told her to behave like an adult, and walked out. Later that night, Amber called Dami. She explained how her father always took Abbas's side. She revealed that Abbas had once lied to her father that she was into drugs, which led to her being sent to rehab. But she outsmarted them. Dami comforted her as the night passed. One day, while Dami was running errands, his boss called and asked him to fix Amber's car. Dami sent her the address. When he arrived at Amber's house, she told him she just wanted to see him and spend some time together. As she took him inside, Dami was stunned by how beautiful her home was. Amber told him she didn't have friends and insisted they make something to eat. In the kitchen, they shared fun moments. Dami was about to leave, but Amber persuaded him to stay longer since he wasn't working the following week. He agreed. That evening, Dami called Chica to inform her he wouldn't be coming home, then ended the call. The next day, Amber was thrilled to have Dami with her. As they played a game together, Dami mentioned his upcoming WE exams. Amber promised to support him in every way, saying she liked him. But Dami gently made it clear that he could only offer her friendship, as his heart belonged to someone else, someone who wasn't even aware. Though heartbroken, Amber appreciated the honesty, and they enjoyed the rest of the day. When Abbas arrived, Dami boldly introduced himself as Amber's boyfriend and mocked him by revealing everything Amber had said about him. Abbas, angry and embarrassed, called Dami names, but stormed out in shame. Amber was filled with joy. Someone had finally stood up for her, just like her late mother would have. Back at the mechanic workshop, Chica remained negative about Dami and Amber's closeness. She told Dami that Amber was into him, but reminded him that their worlds were far apart. That night, when Dami returned home, Chica mocked him. He noticed she was acting strange and was surprised to learn she had a boyfriend. Meanwhile, Amber's father scolded her after hearing that she had brought a mechanic boy into his house. Amber was shocked that her father still wouldn't let her make decisions as an adult. She threatened to move out so he could finally have all the time in the world for Abbas. As she left, her father felt guilty for the things he had said. Now tell me, should a parent control their child to the point where they can't make personal decisions? If you were in Amber's shoes, what would you do? Share your thoughts as we move closer to the end. One day, Chica was having fun with a guy from the street when Amber came to visit her. Amber boldly asked Chica to leave Dami alone so she could change his life. When Chica asked what the price was, Amber stood her ground. Chica stood up and made it clear that Amber's social class was above Dami's and that she should leave him alone. She insulted Amber and stormed out. The next morning, Amber was experiencing menstrual cramps and told her father when he asked what was wrong, then he left. Later that day, Amber fell down the stairs. She called her father and tried to explain her injury, but Abbas picked up the phone. Thinking she was faking, he cut the call. Amber then called Dami, who was heading to the workshop with Chica. Upon hearing the news, he ran off immediately to help her, leaving Chica behind. Dami helped Amber and did everything she asked, even feeding her fruits. When she tried to get intimate with him, Dami respectfully excused himself. Moments later, while Amber was working, Dami played around to cheer her up. Her father suddenly walked in, shocked to see his daughter with the mechanic boy. He scolded her immediately. But Amber reminded him that she had called him earlier, and he didn't answer. She showed him her injured ankle. Dami advised her father to start listening to his daughter rather than outsiders. Her father shouted at him and ordered him out of the house. Wow. The next day, Chica asked Dami if he would work for her if she opened her own workshop. Dami agreed, but only if they worked as partners. Chica accused him of being greedy and said she was willing to pay him more than he currently earned. As they discussed, Dami told her he wanted to go see Amber. Chica was against it and refused to go with him, but Dami went anyway. Dami went to Amber's house where they spent quality time together, enjoying the moment. But her father, who walked in on them, wasn't pleased with what he saw. Later that same day, Amber told her dad about Dami and her desire to sponsor him, but her father refused. He told her to enjoy herself if she must, but to end whatever was going on with Dami, because, according to him, Dami would never be part of their family. Amber was disappointed and walked away. Back at the mechanic workshop, after Chica fixed Amber's car, Amber boldly told her that she wanted to transform Dami's life, but she wanted Chica completely out of the picture. Chica didn't take it lightly. She believed Amber had bad intentions toward Dami and threatened to involve Dami's mother, whom he would surely listen to. Chica then refused to stay away from him and sent Amber out of the workshop. Guy, from all Chica is doing, do you think she's being protective or just jealous? And if you were Dami, who would you choose? Amber the rich girl or Chica the struggling one? Let's keep watching. One day, Amber told Dami she planned to resign and start her own company instead of working under someone else. But when she left the room to get a document, Dami accidentally dropped some of her files. Amber returned, got upset, and raised her voice at him. Dami quietly left the house. Realizing she had overreacted, Amber went after him and apologized. Unknown to them, her father had overheard their conversation and secretly took pictures of the project Amber was working on. When Dami got home, he was unusually quiet. Chica asked what was wrong, but he refused to say a word. The next day, Amber came to plead with Dami. He expressed his disappointment over how she treated him. She explained that her reaction wasn't about the fall, but because she was afraid someone like Abbas might get access to her documents. She apologized again, and they hugged it out. Meanwhile, at the office, Amber's father scolded her because their company lost a major contract to a competitor. She later found out that a file had been leaked, one that belonged to their company. Her father immediately blamed Dami, thinking he might have sold the information to a rival company. Amber initially believed Abbas might be the one behind it, but for a moment, she questioned if it could actually be Dami. In anger and confusion, Amber confronted Dami, accusing him of leaking her project to their competitor. Dami tried to explain he didn't know what she was talking about, but before he could fully defend himself, her father called the police. Dami was arrested immediately. Amber tried to stop them, but it was too late. He was already taken away. At the police station, Chica got a call from the authorities and came to see Dami. He explained everything and insisted he was innocent. But Chica blamed him for not listening to her from the beginning. Dami pleaded with her not to tell his mother about the arrest, but instead to talk to his boss to come bail him out. That evening, Chica went to see their boss and told him everything. But the boss blamed Dami for getting involved with Amber in the first place. Chica, speaking respectfully, offered to pay the bail fee herself and begged him to accompany her. But the boss refused to go that night, promising instead to go with her the next morning. He then asked her to leave. The next day at the station, Chica told Dami that he couldn't be bailed because he had already been charged to court. Dami pleaded with her to talk to Amber on his behalf, insisting that he was innocent. Chica went to see Amber, but Amber started scolding her. She reminded Chica of how she had warned her to stay away from Dami. Amber said Dami couldn't be bailed and that her father had already charged him to court. Chica was shocked, but Amber didn't care. She said she regretted ever meeting Dami and uttered all kinds of negative words about him, forgetting how Dami gave her attention and stood by her when she needed someone. She then sent Chica away. The next day, as Amber was about to leave the house, she ran into Abbas. He told her he wasn't the one who leaked her project, but was happy she was now in a position where he could ruin her. He went on to reveal how her mother used to call her a street dog when they were younger, and that he had always hated her. He made his motives clear, to enrich himself and take everything away from her. After he left, Amber turned off the recording device she had secretly used to capture everything he said. Moments later, Amber confronted her father and asked why he raised Dami's charges so high, making it impossible for him to be released. She accused Abbas of being behind everything, but her father didn't listen. When she asked him what it would take for Dami to be freed, he said she must marry Abbas. Amber refused and vowed to fight the matter on her own. Her father walked away. When Dami's mother heard the news of her son's arrest, she immediately asked Chica to take her to where they were. She said she didn't care who the people involved were. She just wanted to get her son out. That same day, Amber's father asked her why she was packing her things when she had no money. She told him she didn't know how she'd survive, but that she had started the project just to prove she was better than him. She then sent her father the audio recording of Abbas's confession before leaving. Her father listened to the recording and was heartbroken to hear all the evil plans Abbas, the boy he had raised like a son, had made against Amber. He felt ashamed and rushed out to find her. Meanwhile, at the gate, Dami's mother, Bola, arrived with Chica. As they entered the house, Bola began confronting Amber, demanding that she release her son. When Amber's father came out, he was shocked to see Bola. He called her by name, and to everyone's surprise, Bola turned out to be Dami's mother, and Amber's father was Tolu, Dami's biological father. Tolu asked if Dami was truly his son. Bola then revealed the truth. She had been raped by Tolu years ago while he was drunk. At the time, Bola was a maid in his house. Tolu had begged her not to tell his wife because he was already married. When they found out she was pregnant, they chased her away and took the child from her. Everyone was shocked, but Bola was relieved that nothing had happened between Dami and Amber, as they were step-siblings. When Dami tried to leave, Amber tried to apologize, but he ignored her. Tolu, Amber's father, then confessed to being behind everything that had happened to Dami. Everyone was stunned. Chica voiced her disappointment, pointing out how close he had come to destroying his own son. They all walked out on him. Days later, Abbas received a sack letter from the man he once called Father. Tolu told Abbas he knew everything he had done. He told him his mission of raising him was over, and that all the benefits and percentages he had assigned to him were revoked. Abbas, broken and disappointed, was sent away. After some time, Amber and Dami visited Tolu together. They forgave him and chose to move on with their lives, as peace gradually returned to the family. The moral lesson of this movie is, never judge people based on their status or background. The truth always has a way of revealing itself. Loyalty, patience, and integrity will always stand the test of time. And no matter how dark secrets may hide, healing only comes when truth is embraced and forgiveness is given. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating movies from us. Till we meet again, bye!